Morning everyone, in continuation with our video lectures, this is the next topic, human activities, and in this one we are going to cover the primary activities. Now you all know has attained topmost position in the life web, but it was not always like that. It was the dynamic nature of the human which helped him cross so many hurdles over the time period that led man become the uh, top, or you can say leader of the lifespan. No doubt man has been short on various issues on the mental, logical and physical constraints are there, by the means that let's assume other mammals have, like the sonar capabilities or the sixth sense which the other mammals possess, but still man has been able to make sure that he is at the top of the life pyramid, and it is because of the desire that he learned from being a primitive standing ape, or you can say erect man, to a more learned logical man known as Homo sapiens. So the human activities which deals with the livelihood and involves transaction of money are known as economic activities. These economic activities are classified on the basis of the techniques, materials used, the methods, and the products produced into four basic categories. These are the primary, secondary, tertiary, and the quaternary activities. The primary activities, you all know the primary activities basically involve the production of the things, or extraction of the raw materials or finished goods from the nature directly, and using them in the original form. Now these activities are known as the primary activities, not just because these was first of all taken by the man when he was transferring when the man was transferring itself from a gatherer, or primitive ape to primitives to Homo sapiens, but these are known as primary activities because these became the base of the development of the human civilization. These activities became the base for the evolution of the human society. The activities which are included in the primary activities are hunting and gathering, agriculture and types of farming, nomadic herding, commercial livestock ranching, dairy farming, fishing, mining activities. Now some of these activities which we have taken just taken the name, it might strike in your mind that these activities are basically now more into commercial activities, or you can say full-fledged industries. So why they are still being into the primary activities? The reason is simple again, and I'm repeating myself, because these are actually being directly extracted from the nature and used in the original form mostly, and they are the base of the other industrial activities. So now let's go with the types of primary activities. The first and the foremost is the hunting and the gathering. Now hunting and gathering is supposed to be the most oldest and the most primitive type of the primary activity which man has taken up. Now it is at a very lower level, or very few societies or section of societies are doing it. The activities which are taken in the areas, these are the extreme climatic conditions, or have a topographical structure such that they are either dense forest, or they don't allow any other economic activity to be conducted there very easily. The yield per hectare is very low, and whatever is produced is not produced for the market at all. Mostly in recent year gathering tried to become a commercial activity, but with the advancement of the science and technology, the synthetic products of the natural, so you can say synthetic substitutes of the natural products have been produced by man itself, so it has taken a back. The areas which you can say are having still hunting or gathering are divided into on the basis of latitude into two zones: the high latitude zones and the low latitude zones. The high latitude zones includes North Canada, North Eurasia, and North Chile, and the low latitude zones includes the Amazon basin, the tropical Africa, the northern fringes of Australia, and the southern parts of the Southeast Asia. Moving ahead is the second primary activity, and this is your pastoralism. Now pastoralism is basically rearing of the animals for meat, food, shelter, transportation, etc. After initial success in hunting and gathering, few roadblocks started to come in way of the humans. So human understood very quickly that it is hunting and gathering is not going to be a sustainable aspect for their livelihood, so they started to move ahead, and they started to move ahead towards the domestication of the animal. They thought, why to kill the animals, because some animals could be used for helping or improving the life of the humans. So those animals which were domesticated were basically for food, clothes and shelter, and they were basically the milch animal, and other animals which were domesticated by the load animals, so that they can either transport or they can help human in the game changer, that is the farming activities. So pastoralism developed some new economic activities for humans, where the animals, especially milch or load ones, were reared and bred by tribal communities who were always on the move for the search of pastures and green pastures, grassland and water for their cattle and tribe. Moving ahead, now the movement, one of the basic characteristics of pastoralism is the humanist. Now what is transhumanist? Transhumanist is basically the seasonal movement of men with their animals or their material, and depending upon the geographical factor, the technological advancement and the animals reared in pastoralism, it is now practiced at two levels. The first is the subsistence level, known as the nomadic herding or the pastoral herding, and second is at the commercial level, which is also known as the commercial livestock ranching. So first we are going to see what is nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism is. Now nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism is the primitive subsistence form of the pastoralism, in which the herders depend totally upon the animals for food, clothing, shelter and transportation. They move from one place to another with their livestock depending upon the amount and the quality of the pasture. Now this is basically transhuman aspect of the pastoralism, which we have just discussed a few slides back. Now each nomadic community which is involved in this activity is basically has demarcated their territory. They move in that territory only, and they have their traditional animals. Now, but the meaning of the traditional animals means they are rearing those animals since time immemorial, or basically they are rearing those animals because of the climatic constraints in the areas where only those animals were initially living, and they were domesticated by these tribes. Now the animals which are basically reared depends upon various factors. The areas of the practice. The nomadic herding is basically carried in the areas of extreme climatic conditions, which either don't permit farming completely or do partially permit the farming activities to be done. Now it is mostly done by the tribal communities who are the original inhabitants of the region, and they actually know the each and every aspect of the region, the climatic zones, the each and every tropical feature. The pastoralism is associated with three important regions. The first or the core region extends from the Atlantic shores of the North Africa, moving eastwards across the Arabian Peninsula into Mongolia and central China. The second region extends over the tundra region of the Eurasia, and the third one is in the southern hemisphere, where the small areas are in the southwest Africa and on the islands of the Madagascar. Then the animals which are basically reared are, as I told you earlier, they change from region to region. For example, in tropical Africa, cattle is the most important livestock, while in Sahara and the Asiatic desert, sheep, goats and camels are reared. In the mountains of Tibet, Himalayas or Andes, yak and lemurs are the important one. In the Arctic and subarctic regions, the reindeers make the majority of the share of the animals reared. Now over the time period, the nomadic herding has been on decline or almost ending, you can say, towards its end. The reason is being that the political boundaries have been now reshaped and demarcated very strictly, and another aspect is the increase in the urbanization and the industrialization, the change in the land use pattern and the effect on the ecological hotspots, or you can say ecological balance, has also made sure that nomadic herding is actually on the verge of extinction. Now moving forward to the second level of the pastoralism, which is done at the commercial level, is known as the commercial livestock ranching. Now it is one of the reasons for the decline of the nomadic herding is commercial livestock ranching. The basic difference between two types, that is commercial ranching or the nomadic herding, is that in the former the emphasis is mainly on the breeding, genetically improving, and the disease control and the health care of the animals. Whereas in the nomadic herding, it's the mixture of the animals, and they don't just they are just there to breed. Then the emphasis is on to increase the number of the animals. The disease control in improving their genetic character, etc., is not taken care of. The livestock ranching is more organized. It is highly capital intensive activity where animals are reared in large ranches with very high scientific methods. Livestock ranching is essentially associated with very high developed areas, so you can say western cultural areas, and is practiced on the permanent ranches which spread over acres of the land, and they are divided into small parcels, or you can say small segments, where the animals are actually graze in a natural environment. These ranches cover large areas and divide into a number of the parcels which are fenced to regulate the grazing of the animals. When the grass of one parcel is grazed, animals start to move to another parcel, and the number of the animals in the pasture are kept according to the capacity of the pasture that can hold. Now, if you see if you see by the slides, you can understand that how scientifically the ranchers or the breeders make sure that they divide this such a large area of the state or the ranches into particular parcels, so that the animals have enough amount of grass or the food for them to graze in a natural environment. Now, the commercial livestock ranching, as you all know, is very scientific. So the activities which are done are especially for one particular animal, and it is reared for meat, wool, skins or hides, and the byproducts or the product of these animals are scientifically processed, packed and transported in very expensive transportation means across the world. The animals which are reared are sheep, cattle, horses, etc. The major areas which are having the commercial livestock ranching is New Zealand, Australia, Argentina, Uruguay, and United States of America. So in next part we are going to understand about the agriculture and the types of farming. Thank you and have a nice day.